Good afternoon and welcome back to the World Skills UK International Skills Summit. We are live from Dudley College of Technology. We've been taking your questions and your thoughts, and today's sessions all focus around one thing, and that is skills for growth. As we've established already, it is skills that will allow us to remove ourselves from the place we are in and develop towards recovery. So great debates we've had so far. We'd love to have some more of your thoughts, and you can do so by filling in the part of the screen that allows you to ask questions. And if you could let us know who you are, where you're from, so we know a little bit about you, and we'll try and include your thoughts with the panel. The panel loves it, I love it, and I know everybody involved in the day loves it too, so please do that. Now, welcome to this session. This session is about delivering higher technical skills to power our advanced manufacturing sector. And I'm delighted to say that we're joined by Neil Thomas once again, who's Chief Executive and Principal of Dudley College of Technology. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. And of course, not only are you Principal here, but you're also our host. Thank you very much, Steve, for being such a good host. Also, we're joined by Sarah Dhanda, who's Head of Strategic Partnerships at Ingenuity, and Barry Lyles, OBE, who's Pro Vice Chancellor at the University of Wales, Trinity St David. And Sarah and Barry join us remotely, and they are there. So welcome. Thank you for joining us, to the two of you. It's good to see you this afternoon. Sarah, where can we see you? Where are you speaking to us from?
I am speaking to you from a very sunny West London at the moment.
I hear it always is sunshine in London. That's what they tell me. Also with us is Barry Lyles, OBE, who is Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Wales, Trinity St David. Are you in the wonderful country?
Absolutely, in deepest West Wales, at this point in time, very unusually, in sunshine.
Well, I have many happy memories of my formative years on holiday in Tenby and Saundersfoot, and we did have some, well, 1 or 2 days of sunshine for every 14 days of holiday, and that's not a bad average, we always used to think. Anyway, it's good to see you all on this part of the programme today. Just to get us into this discussion about skills for growth and about developing these higher technical skills, from a very basic point of view, I just wonder if I could just go around the panel and just find out what your signature skill would be. If I said to you, what is your signature skill, be it putting up shelves, be it fixing the car, maybe setting the video or reverse parking, whatever it may be, what would your signature skill be, Neil Thomas?
Definitely none of those. I'm an electronic engineer by trade, actually. So before I moved into the world of education, I was a product engineer, and I guess because of that, I just love gadgets. So I tend to just still build and mess with gadgets.
Yeah. You're not one of those people who take gadgets apart and
Absolutely.
Then when you put it together, you realise you've managed to save all those pieces.
That's exactly me. So definitely
very
a
scary.
tinkerer.
Good, thank you for that. Sarah, what's your signature skill?
The thing that popped into my head when you asked the question was talking, which sounds a bit frivolous, but actually it's a really handy skill to have when your job is partnerships. So I would say talking and people, working with people.
What's the best secret for having a conversation ready for networking?
Always have the 3 points that you want to make as bullet points ready in the back of your mind. So rather than streams and streams, just have 3 key points. If you're going to an event, what are you trying to get out of it? Everybody can remember 3 things.
It's obviously served you well. Thank you for that, Sarah. Barry, what would your signature skill be?
I suppose it's a mix between the two we've already heard. I served an apprenticeship, actually, as in manufacturing engineer in my early career before moving into education. And in that instance, heavily involved in manufacturing things. I'm a bane in my wife's life at the moment. Whatever's required, I honestly believe I can make it, particularly in wood. And that's my downfall, I'm afraid.
Well, I will reveal mine is I can remember almost every phone number of my closest friends from when I was 14 years old. It's all numbers that are completely pointless and meaningless, but they are still there firmly in my mind. Between the 4 of us, if this country ever has any problems, I know that together we can probably pull the country back with those skills alone. Anyway, let's get into the detail of this discussion, which obviously, as I say, is delivering higher technical skills to power our advanced manufacturing sector. And one of the things, Neil Thomas, that we've been discussing during the day today is that one of the key things we have to remember is if you don't start it right, it's not going to end right. And it all starts here with education.
Yeah, well, not just at college, it starts earlier than that. It's about inspiring a generation to pursue careers in these much needed sectors, really. So, yes, we're really proud of the part we play in that at college and inspiring people, particularly about developing technical skills. But it starts primary, it starts secondary, about people understanding what these careers are and aspiring to be a part of them, because hopefully by the time they come to us, they've already got that aspiration. So for us, it's also about working with the schools, and that's something the schools do struggle to do in isolation because they don't necessarily have the technical facilities to do that.
Well, I was going to ask you about this, and we'll also bring the rest of our panel in on this as well, because one of the things I do remember from when I was at school is when we were much younger, the area of our expertise which moved beyond textbooks tend to either be games or some other very kind of strange, nuanced, niche skills that I have not really served me in very good stead. Now, at secondary school, I was very fortunate because the school I went to wasn't a private school. It was an ILIA, Inner London Education Authority school, but we did have woodwork, metalwork. We had those facilities, but as you say, not all schools have that luxury.
No, they don't. And of course, there is such a vast array of technical skills and careers available out there. Schools can't possibly be equipping people with all those skills. And that's why the partnership of working with colleges and employers and other bodies to try and provide that experience is so important.
And if I can ask Sarah, before we go into the detail of this, just to explain to us a little bit about Ingenuity and what you do.
Thank you. So Ingenuity, we're a skills organisation. Our aim is to provide practical skills solutions for the engineering and manufacturing sector, for employers and individuals, drawing on our many years of experience as a sector skills council, so across engineering, education and skills, but also increasingly drawing on the ingenuity and our expertise in the data and digital world, so that we can actually combine the two. So you've got the experience of education, but also using new technology and taking a data-driven approach where we can. So I think, in summary, helping the sector employers and employees to gain the skills that they need.
And we have to, as we say, the goal here is to deliver higher technical skills in order to power our advanced manufacturing sector. As we speak today, in May 2021, how are we doing? Sarah?
Sorry. I think we're on a journey. I'm an eternal optimist, so I will always see the positive. I think we're on a journey towards delivering those higher technical skills. I don't think there's been a period where we've ever talked about higher technical skills so much and actually identified them as a specific category of skill. I think in the past we've talked about FE and HE, and we've never talked about that bridge between the two. We've never talked about the level 4-5, where actually those are the skills that increasingly employers are looking for as part of digitalisation, as part of wanting to become more productive and more competitive. So I think we're some way on the journey, but there's still quite a long way to go.
Thank you for that. Now, Barry Lyloby, who's Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Wales, Trinity St David. Again, we're interested in obviously the source of experience and the ability you have to help deliver on the next generation coming through that level of academia. How simple is it at the moment to basically see what is required down the pipeline to ensure that it's the skills that you can equip your students with?
It's an ever-present challenge for us ourselves, and if I can just perhaps declare an interest, I spent a 30-year career in further education, and as Sarah mentioned, this domain of level 4 and 5 is shared equally between further and higher education on that basis. Identifying demand at the moment is something that we have continuously have to try and achieve, is that horizon scanning of new and emerging skills. And if you look at the onset of artificial intelligence, the emergence now of Industry 4.0, there's never been such constant change. So horizon scanning in terms of curriculum development, but behind that then comes a key factor for us is that we have to prepare and develop our staff as well. And what I'm pleased with at the moment is that, our engagement with employers is so critical to use their assistance, not only in designing provision going forward, identifying their needs, but collaborating in terms of practitioners coming in from industry to support our delivery as well. And I can't underestimate the importance, therefore, of partnership working between industry and ourselves. And I'm sure Neil will agree with that's equally important in FE as it is in HE with myself.
Neil?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, some of the curriculum we're offering in some of our new buildings, we're among the first offering some of these new apprenticeship standards, new programs linked to modern construction methodology and things like that. The FE lecturers aren't just sat around out there to deliver this. It only works through our industry partners. Nearly all of those programs have specialist input from industry partners to top up the currency of that technical training. And I think breaking down the barriers about how difficult it is sometimes to engage partners and incentivising them to do that more would be a critical element of driving forward. And certainly when we open the Institute of Technology, which is working with HE partners to deliver a local technical higher curriculum to local people, the industry partners in that are absolutely critical.
And can I ask you about competition? Because one of the things that I do remember when I was going through the process of UCA and PCAS that long ago, I think it's, what's it called now? UCAS?
Yeah, UCAS.
UCAS.
Yeah.
Was we were pleading with these establishments to let us in, and we were having to make sure we were engaging and reaching our levels of exam results, etc., etc. Now it seems to be a million times more difficult to the output of those students who are just leaving after their A-levels to try and make sure they get the place they want. Competition amongst students is incredibly strong, but also I see so is competition among academic venues, because you've expanded your place that we see here. The facilities here are tremendous. I've spent some time at the University of Surrey. They keep expanding and their campus is quite wonderful. We know of Oxford and Cambridge and their history and what they're able to deliver. Now, how much competition is there between universities, colleges to attract the best students?
I mean, I'll leave Barry to comment about universities. I would say that collaboration is alive and well, actually, more so than competition now. And I think that's demonstrated really well in the West Midlands, actually, and I'm sure there's other examples. Because, yes, we have expanded Dudley College. We've built lots of new facilities aimed at, but none of them to compete. It's part of a comprehensive skills plan. We're part of Colleges West Midlands, which is the 20 colleges in the West Midlands, and we plan strategically together. Our Institute of Technology is a collaboration between the local HE partners here to deliver that curriculum in a local venue. We're not trying to tread on anybody's toes. We're trying to make sure that between us all, we're covering all of the curriculum and all the specialisms that are needed. We can't all be specialists in everything, and we can't all create that level of facility. So it needs to be collaboration. And I think that's worked extremely well, particularly in the last 5 or 10 years.
And I can see Barry nodding through that. You'd agree it is more about collaboration rather than competition?
Absolutely. All forms of competition is healthy, but it actually derives into, therefore, collaboration. And, in an earlier comment, Neil mentioned it, we're working with our FE partners at the moment in terms of franchising activity, co-development of new provision. There's so much demand upon us. The only way forward is through collaboration. So to me, I don't foresee competition between FE and HE an issue. Can I just mention in terms of your earlier question, however, in terms of competition for young people, and that's one thing that concerns me for this sector. There's no doubt, dare I say it, I'm the first to mention that, COVID will have a profound impact on careers. We have to work hard, I feel, with the likes of Sarah and other key organisations to make this an attractive proposition for young people. We are challenged with competition for other sectors. Some are perceived perhaps more appropriate today than they were previously. We've also got an imbalance, dare I say, in terms of the gender recruitment into high-value engineering. So I think together we need to work on that competitive element, which is key.
And Sarah, if I can ask you, because again, forgive me for putting my own experiences into this, because they were some time ago, but I was very fortunate to be at all levels of my education, both at comprehensive secondary school to college, and also when I was at university, where my teachers, tutors, and the establishments themselves were very, very keen to reach out to businesses and to make sure that we had connections with those. I'm guessing it must be those acquaintances and those relationships must be even stronger now.
Yes, I think they are, but I think picking up the competition piece, there is increasing competition from all sectors to get the attention of young people, and particularly those where there are sort of gender or diversity imbalances. So I think as a sector, we need to be smarter and more imaginative and more creative. We're doing some really interesting work using game-based learning, so things like Minecraft and other games, to try to portray engineering and manufacturing as a sort of a 21st century, a sort of fourth industrial revolution type of sector, rather than the sort of common misconceptions. But I think it's a really good opportunity for partnership, and the more that we can work together in selling the sector, I think that the better it will be for employers who are then not trying to sort of just do things on their own. They can access a raft of resources that help them portray themselves and the opportunities that they've got. Just a couple of other very quick points. I think the progression piece is really important. People don't necessarily understand what progression looks like, and I think that's why higher technical qualifications are really important, because if you're coming in an apprentice route or an FE route, you can actually start to see how you might move forward, or what your career might look like once you start to get to level 4 and 5.
And one of the things I've seen, and I've looked around your venue here, Neil, in numerous of your facilities, is there is definite buy-in from the students. They absolutely understand what is required when we're talking about the advanced manufacturing sector. Some of the design work that I've seen being done on both virtual reality and computer-aided design, and all of the things that have been invented since then. The students get it, and they know the requirement, and they know it's not about their studying in isolation. They know where the skills they're learning are actually going to take them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've just done a tour now, as you know, and just seeing some of the practical and technical skills that those students are demonstrating is brilliant. I always love touring around, because I think it just demonstrates the massive skill and potential that the next generation are bringing to the marketplace. Now, I think the challenge for us, actually, and for employers, is making sure that they're fully aware of the range of careers that those skill sets could take them into. Because, it's not, I'm going to be an electronics engineer and I'm going to end up here. You could be working in a range of sectors, doing a range of things, and making sure that people's eyes are open to all the possibilities, and therefore setting their aspirations as high as they can do is an important part of our role.
Can I ask you all this next question? Because I think one of the things that has changed in my lifetime is the period of our working life expectancy has certainly grown, and it's increased. But at the same time, obviously, so has the rate and the pace of change. So when I was at school, when I was at university, when we were learning our new trade, yes, there were people 25 years, 30 years older than us who didn't understand everything, but it was similar. The things we were doing were from the same family. You could see the generational change bit by bit in technology. Now things are changing so quickly. I just wondered how you make sure that the students that you deliver to trade today are well equipped to not suddenly find the pace of change completely overtakes them when they're at 40 or 50 or 60 or still wanting to carry on. Barry, maybe if I can start with you, because it is really worrying when you see somebody of a very, very clear age where they're able to carry on working very well, but because they've been doing it the same way for 20 years, suddenly find the rate and the pace of change too quick.
Absolutely, and I think what's incumbent upon us in education at all levels now is that we create lifelong learners. Now, you take myself as an example. I've had basically two careers, manufacturing engineering and then education, including education management. Young people today, we're looking at 12 to 15 different careers, and we have to develop that resilience within young people in order to cope with this change. And the best thing we can do, therefore, is to develop that lifelong learning context within them and prepare them as well in all education establishments for the world of work. And I come back to my earlier point again, but horizon scanning as to the opportunities that do exist. And therefore, all too often in the past, perhaps we haven't majored on providing employability training going forward. But part of the employability is to provide flexibility and develop within young people the resilience to change.
And the other thing of interest that I picked up from what you just said is it isn't just about 7, 8 or 9 different jobs that you'll be doing during your career. It's also about the idea you'll probably be starting your own business. Now, that was never something that was even brought about because everyone, when I was learning, it was considered you'd either work for this organisation or that. It wasn't, but you could start your own business. Now that is crucial.
Absolutely, and in terms of, we're well aware in education how we go forward in terms of entrepreneurship training. I'm talking to employers, and the important thing is entrepreneurship is developing that entrepreneurial practice and mindset within an employee, and then it's a double benefit for the employee and the employer.
Thank you for that. And Sarah, as our working life way exceeds the 40 years that it started out, and goodness me, in the last 18 months, doesn't it begin to feel so? How do we make sure that we're still able to carry on successfully picking up new technology when we're 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and still going strong?
I think there are a number of ways, and I think that the key point that you've made is that it's not actually just young people who are starting their careers. Those of us who've been in work for some time, I don't think there's ever been a time where people have had to keep their skills up to date and upskill and reskill as much. And we have very well proven and effective routes into careers through apprenticeships, through degrees, and other ways. I think we're probably less tried and tested in the field of upskilling. We're doing a project with the high value manufacturing catapult at the moment, and actually all of the IoTs around future skills foresighting, actually looking at using technology and what's happening in the sector to foresight and identify what the capabilities are that employers will need, and then the skills and knowledge that their employees will need.
And we should talk about that, shouldn't we? For those who don't know, IoTs, Institutes of Technology, these are really important in the discussion we're having about delivering the correct skills for the right sector.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. The Department for Education have funded a pilot to actually test out how the foresighting process can work, but not only around identifying what are the skills requirements, what is it that people will need to be able to do and know, whether they're new entrants or already working, but actually how do we go about delivering that? So, how do we work collaboratively as a group of IoTs and as a sector to develop the content, the qualifications, the learning? How do we train the trainers, whether that's, sort of staff within the FE or HE sector, or that partnership that we talked about with employers. So it's very much we call it the skills value chain, but it's around not only identifying what it is we need people to do, but actually how are we going to deliver it, and acting on that demand signal. So it's a really exciting collaborative project, focusing on those future skills at level 4-5.
Sarah, thank you for that. Mike Stevens asks how we can define the role of a technician within the industrial sector in 2021. Mike Stevens poses that question. And it's an interesting question because it almost comes back to the point we've been making, that the definition of all of our roles has changed and continues to change. Is it even worth having these silo titles such as you're a technician, I'm a creative, that person over there is knowledge based? Is that helpful or is it harmful to us?
I think it's potentially harmful. I think trying to come up with definitions and is not the way forward. I mean, people will follow certain disciplines, but actually what every employer tells us is they want multi-skilled people able to work across a team on cross-skilled projects, and that's the skills that they really need.
And I have to say, as a 50-plus-year-old, that sentence fills me with dread and fear, as it may well do for many others as well. But if you had to narrow down a definition of a technician, what would you say it is in 2021?
Like I say, I'd struggle to provide a definition. I mean, the key principle of higher technical qualifications is to focus on the practical technical skills development of an individual, not at the expense of the academic, but in hand in hand with the academic, as opposed to a purely academic study. And a technician, to me, is a problem solver. They're somebody with a wide skill base who can step into a situation and solve a problem. And that could be a problem in healthcare, in manufacturing, in whatever it might be. But
many thanks for that. And just to close, we probably should focus a little bit more about World Skills UK itself and the role of World Skills UK to help deliver technical skills excellence. So we've spoken about reaching out to business, to those areas of academia. We've spoken about areas of academia working together. What about World Skills UK? So this obviously talks about international competition, the competition model for expanding skills, international benchmarking. How does this help with delivering higher technical skills to power the advanced manufacturing sector? Let's go to Sarah Dhanda on that.
Thanks. I think it's vitally important. I think we must always remember that we as, whether it's as individuals, the employers, sectors, it must continue to learn. And we talked about lifelong learning. And I think World Skills gives us that opportunity to have that international comparison. So to learn from what other people are doing, to look at what's working well, what could we bring back to the UK and feed into our system. We might be able to export things from our UK system as well. But I think it's about highlighting and sharing good practice, and to a certain extent setting the UK stall out that actually we have a really, really good technical education system that we're continually improving. So we're giving that building that picture of the UK as a really good place to do business, but also with a really highly skilled workforce.
All right, thank you for that, Sarah. And just to close on that particular part of our discussion, Barry, the idea and the role of World Skills UK helping to deliver the technical skills excellence that clearly this country and every country right now is crying out for.
Absolutely, and naturally I'm biased in my involvement in the World Skills over the last decade. But in my opinion, Simon, let's cut to the chase here. What do these skill competitions and the wider agenda offer? We offer competence. And whenever I speak to employers, qualifications are important. Competence is critical. And where better than within the arena of World Skills can we provide evidence of the competence of practitioners engaging in such activity?
Okay, many thanks for that. And I'm going to do a last audience question as if a person towards my own heart. Meninda says, is it difficult to learn new skills for a person who's aged 50 plus? I would say it depends how passionate you are about those skills. As a person who is 50 plus, there are some I could sit and try and learn for a year and I'd get nowhere. There are others I'd pick it up in a day. Very briefly, because we're running short of time. Neil, how difficult is it? I mean, it's going to be a long time till you get there, I know. So how difficult is it for somebody 50 plus to pick up new skills?
I think you're right. It depends if you've got the passion and interest to do it. I think the important thing is making sure those opportunities are there for 50 plus year olds. And we've spent a lot of time talking about young people and progressing people through. It's as important if we're going to face the skills challenges and productivity challenges we're facing now to be looking at how we upskill our existing workforce and our adults. So moving them into priority sectors, developing their technical skills just as important, and making sure that education is accessible to them is an important part of what we need to focus on.
And patience, I'd say. Sarah?
I don't think it's necessarily as difficult as we might think. I think we have to remember that there's not a one-size-fits-all. So the way we might go about giving young people new skills and training and teaching young people will be different than the way we would do it for somebody who was in their 50s. I think flexibility and adaptability, depending on the audience and the skills that are required.
All right, thank you, Sarah. And just lastly, Barry, briefly, if you can, how difficult is it to learn new skills for a person who's age 50 plus?
Well, clearly you can tell by the hair loss in what category I am, but on that basis, from my experience, particularly when talking of engineering, is no issue. And I think so many have that passion to look at improvement. We're embedded with continuous improvement. The benefits that I engage with workforce development in terms of informing the next generation, I see there's a passion there for improving and therefore picking up the new skills.
All right, it's great to see you both. It will be wonderful to meet in person one day when we can. For the meanwhile, thank you for your time this afternoon. And Neil, once again, Neil Thomas, Chief Executive and Principal of the Dudley College of Technology, thank you for your hospitality today. Also joined by Sarah Dhanda, who's Head of Strategic Partnerships of Ingenuity, and Barry Lyle, OBE, Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Wales, Trinity St David. Many thanks to you all for that. This is the World Skills UK International Skills Summit. Now, we'd love to hear some more of your questions and your thoughts. And as always, if you want to add your queries, you can do through the system that you're watching the programme on this afternoon. You can do so in the right-hand side of your screen. I'm delighted to say that we're going to show a short video shortly. And because we've spent 3 days at Dudley College of Technology, some of the footage you will see has been shot by some of the students as well. And that is coming up soon. But before all of that, let's speak to Emma Roberts. Emma is Head of Research and Public Affairs at World Skills UK to close this session. Emma, welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us and indeed hosting us. I'm not quite sure which role to concentrate on, but anyway, you're here, we're all here, so thank you for that.
Thanks,
we're going
Simon.
to hear from Kate Green shortly, who I know is going to raise some very important issues. Kate Green is an MP for Labour and she's got some very passionate words to say about skills and the skills business, particularly the economic role of technical education as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to reflect on the last session, Simon, around the importance of advanced manufacturing, because that's something that World Skills UK is taking extremely seriously as well. You know, looking back to Neil's speech from this morning, advanced manufacturing engineering is absolutely important to the economy. It's one of those sectors that is internationally traded where we absolutely need world-class skills. So fantastic to hear from the panellists just now talking about the importance that they're putting on advanced manufacturing. So just from our point of view, in terms of you know, what we're doing to contribute to that, we've been prioritising STEM skills over the last 5 years and increasing the number of competitions that we're doing in those areas. And our most recent initiative in that respect is the Industry 4.0 competition, which is obviously at the cutting edge of advanced manufacturing.
Refer to that just very briefly during our
discussion.
Yeah.
So we will be training squad members at the moment, getting ready to compete in that competition in Shanghai in 2022, and that will also be part of our national competition portfolio next year as well. So that's part of us embedding these really priority skills into the UK skills system, and also looking at how we can work with partners like Festo to enable access to their cutting edge technology in this area as well.
And also the real importance of World Skills UK working together with all of its competitors to deliver that international benchmarking.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to remain competitive, and we need to work with other countries to understand how they're developing, you know, world-class skills in this area, because it is internationally tradable. So the businesses that are working and need these skills aren't sort of bound by you know, country geography, that they work internationally as well. So we need to make sure that when they're looking at where to put their investment, put their capital, they're thinking about the UK because they have that pipeline of skills here.
And we should also be thinking, you mentioned Squad UK, who then become narrowed down to Team UK and then compete internationally. We should remember how difficult this last year has been. I thought of all of the young people who were doing this when I saw those remarkable pictures of the professional tennis players who were having to shoot the rackets in their hotel rooms while they were quarantining before the big matches. We have to make sure that the team we have don't feel that they're cobwebbed.
Absolutely, yeah, and you know the squad have done an amazing job at staying motivated over the last year and actually doing their job to inspire the next generation as well, because as the panellists again were saying, you know, this isn't just about developing skills at the moment, it's about inspiring future generations of young people to take on these courses and to realise the fantastic breadth of career opportunities that are available if they look into advanced manufacturing. So yeah, lots of things that we can do to help, and we're absolutely committed to doing that.
All right, many thanks for joining us. Emma Roberts there, and obviously before that, Neil Thomas, Sarah Dhanda, Barry Lal. Emma Roberts, by the way, Head of Research and Public Affairs at WorldSkills UK. Thank you for that.